First, I want to show some gratitude for those who are taking time out of their lives to listen and take in the information that I am teaching. As I've mentioned before, I am new to this. I am still learning the best way to speak to people through this medium. And I hope that you are getting some value out of what is being spoken here, or at least a little bit of knowledge that maybe you hadn't thought of before. So now I would like to discuss the difference between visiting and visualizing the future as opposed to dwelling and stressing over future events. Now the question I guess would be is, how will this help me in my life? Out of everything that I have taught so far, and in line with everything that I may teach in the future, this is probably the most important. It is important to get a hold on how you are today, to be able to live in a peaceful, present state, to be able to react correctly to the people around you, the noises such as a hammer knocking in the distance, to be able to react to these things with peace. Because the only person that this stress will affect is you. No matter how angry or disturbed you may be in this moment because of something unfair which is happening to you, maybe against your will, or maybe you brought it on yourself. No matter how disturbed you might be, it is all your own construct. How we view the world is how the world will be. With this in mind, focusing upon the future can be made healthy and positive. Everything we haven't done yet is a construct of our mind. We look forward to the future, and for some reason it has become the normal state of humanity to immediately assume the worst, to immediately assume that everything is going to happen in the future will be bad, will be against us. You will think life is not fair. You will think everyone is out to get you. This thought process will make all of the terrible things happen for real. So, if it is possible to make terrible things happen with a negative thought process, then isn't it important to think positively? Some have heard the discussion of what's known as either the secret, which is where it began from, or what I'm now calling the law of attraction. The idea is if you imagine wonderful things in your future and within your life, you will have these wonderful things. I am a firm believer that this is the truth. Everything that I have learned from the sense of Buddhism and all the books that I have read that talk about positive thought and happiness and how to make your life better, all supports the law of attraction being the truth. So just like the powerful fears that you have in your mind right now, it is also possible to have powerful, positive thought. For visualization and visitation is almost as good as the real thing when it comes to your internal source. So how do you visit the future as opposed to dwelling on it? Visualizing the future is all about the details. If I have something that is going to be supposedly stressful, or something I am dreading that's going to happen in the future, I will give you a scenario. Let's just say if by chance, like when I was younger, I had a terrible fear of public speaking. In high school, I would sooner take a failing grade before getting up in front of my class to do a presentation. So this was a large fear for me. So if anything would happen where I knew I had to get up in front of people and speak, and I had no choice, I would constantly dread it. And of course, I would constantly picture the worst possible scenarios, that maybe the kids will laugh at me, or somebody will try and make me embarrassed by tripping me or saying something silly. Some bullies, it was school. So these fears would cause me to be at unrest for many days leading up to the final event. And then usually at the event, things may go better than I assumed. The worst might not happen, but it still was an overall negative experience in my life. So is it possible, instead of picturing all those terrible things, that what if I visualized myself standing in front of that class, doing my speech with a complete, still calmness inside of me, looking out to all the kids' faces and seeing them smiling, encouraging smiles, listening to every word that I'm saying, following along with every point that I am making, nodding along, laughing if I were to tell a joke or attempt to tell a joke. What if I were to picture all of that in vivid detail? The clothes that I'm wearing, the feeling of the hardwood of the floor underneath my feet, the feeling of my hands on top of the podium, the echo of my voice if I'm speaking into a microphone. And I picture all of that positive energy, positive people in front of me, and afterwards having people, students and parents and teachers coming up and saying, "You did an absolutely amazing job. You are a wonderful public speaker." And I pictured all of that and felt the good feelings that go along with it. Feel the gratitude, the thankfulness that I have that everything in that moment went perfectly. That is a perfect example of how to visualize the future. Now here's the funny part of all of this. You are not only helping out that future event by picturing it in the best possible light, what you are also helping out is yourself. Now we all have an ego inside of us, and no matter how enlightened you become, as long as the world around us is an egotistical world such as what we are living in today, that will remain. So my goal is not to get rid of the ego, my goal is to work with it. And one of the best things that this technique will accomplish is the idea that by feeding your ego this positive scenario, you have put it at ease. If you visualize the best possible outcome of these future events, you will then have your ego put at ease. You will be able to sleep at night. You will be confident all of these positive things will happen. So it really is a win-win situation. That's all for now. Please feel free, if you have any questions, to put them in the comments below. I will watch for these questions. Thank you for listening.